Hello everybody, we are going to talk today about designing for screen printing. The first thing you're going to need is a piece of unlined paper. This is a 9 by 12 drawing paper, but an 8.5 by 11 piece of copy paper will work just as well. On the instructions, I ask you to draw with a ruler a 6 by 9 inch rectangle. And if you don't have a ruler, that's okay. I'll show you an alternative method in the meantime. So when we do this in the classroom, I have these templates ready for everybody, and we just put it in the middle of your sketch paper and trace the rectangle. If you don't have a ruler, you can take a piece of regular old copy paper, fold it in half, and that'll give you an 8.5 by 5.5 rectangle, and that's close enough. The idea is that you're leaving enough of a border around the edge that the items that you cut are inside and they hold together better and you don't get ink all over the place. So at this point, you can start sketching. You can draw anything you want. It can be recognizable objects, it can be abstract shapes and things like that, or it can be words, or it can be a combination of all of the above. The one thing you have to avoid is anything that is overlapping anything else. So if you have something like this on your sketch, it's not really going to show when you print because you're going to be cutting this piece of paper out, so it would kind of look like that. So I have a printout here that I did on the computer, and I've shown you how on Canvas to add fonts to the computer if you want that are stencil fonts. You see how these are cut apart in pieces. So the P, this is called a floating island. And it floats because it would be normally in the middle without anything connecting it to the outside edge. So when you look at it like that, it's a floating island. The way the stencil fonts are set up is they have these little white spaces that connect them, and these are called bridges. So in order to keep the centers in when you're screen printing with a paper stencil, you need to connect your islands to your outside of the stencil paper with bridges. So if I had just cut this P without any bridges, it would look like this. And yes, our brain is really good at identifying recognizable symbols, and it would read as a P, but it doesn't look anywhere near as good as if you connected your islands. So once you've got your sketch started, you can do a couple things with it. In this case, I put an object, which is a fried egg, in the middle. And then I knew I wanted my words to be curved. So I just did a sketch line for each of them. And then I traced them, moving my letters, tilting them a little bit as I go. So if you are working with words that you want to read as a word, if you're working with letters, the best way to space them to find the middle is to count them. So for this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters. So the I is the middle letter. So I would set that up when I'm tracing in the middle of the space. This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because you count the space, 6, 7. So then 4 is halfway in between. So I would try to set up the E so that it was right in the middle and the I is in the middle. Once you've done all of your sketching, I would like you to color it in solid. You can use a Sharpie like I have. You can use a pencil if that's what you have. You can use colored pencils or a marker. It should all be one color because when you print this, you are going to print it all in one color. And it can be any color you want. Just because I colored it black doesn't mean that it's going to be printed black. And then when we get back to the classroom, we're going to cut a stencil. So I've cut this out of freezer paper, which is shiny on one side and dull on the other, and it will stick to the underside of the screen. I'm going to do a demonstration to show you how that works. And that's why I have this particular design, because whenever we cut them with the shiny side up, and we print them with the shiny side up. So there you have it. If you have any questions, send me a line.